and they can contact you and just act like jerks or whatever, and just some human, and, you know. So that's why I'm just even bringing it up, so that you don't think you're crazy. You know, when someone keeps IMing you and you don't like them and you don't know why, that's usually your spirit being repulsed by them. You don't recognize what they are, but your spirit does. Your spirit knows, and so the Lord will teach you and train you into this area. If you ask Him to reveal the truth to you in all things, so that you know what their games are, so you know what they're up to. So they don't get you swirling in attacks all the time, or chasing your tail and trying to get work done and wondering why you can't get anything done on the internet. Some of you also suffering relentless attacks, trying to be on the internet, always losing your connections, always losing your emails, can't send out emails but you can read them. You know, I've been through that stuff for years, and I don't, you know, that's usually the first level 1 attacks, because you get over that eventually. You move on to other things, and they end up leaving you alone once you work ways around them. I can send emails from Yahoo. I can't send emails from any of my website domain names to any email client, such as Outlook Express or any of them, because the email server is blocked at the server itself. And people say, oh, call your ISP. Well, you call your ISP, and they blame it on the software, and the software will then blame it on your ISP, and you end up going into a huge circle. I finally got one of them to admit to me one time that it was just the government blocking it at the server. There was nothing they could do. And, of course, we know that the CIA and the government owns all the servers that we operate on. And they could shut us down at any time they want to. And that's why people will tell me, why don't you get your own server? And it's like, well, they can just block it any time they want to. At least now they have to go through other people and inconvenience them to get to me. So I have web hosts, and I pay for web hosting service every month. And if they want to shut me down, then they've got to inconvenience my web hosts and all of them, as well as before they even get to me. And so it's kind of a hindrance to them. But if I had my own server, it wouldn't be any hindrance to them at all. They'd just shut me off. So having your own server isn't always the answer. What you can do is find ways around it. Send emails from Yahoo. I use Yahoo. And, of course, they read them all. I know they do. I know they do. They read all your emails. Google is owned by Al Gore. Google will tell you right out in their policy that they read your stuff. They're violating every form of privacy that they think you could possibly have. They violate. So that Gmail, Google Mail, is a worse joke than Yahoo. At least Yahoo doesn't come out and state what they do. I don't. At least Al Gore states what he does. Nobody else does. Everybody else just does it behind your back. And so, yeah, also ISPs. I've been on AOL for 12 years, folks. People hate AOL, but you know what? I don't have half the problems with AOL that I would have with somebody else. MSN is a nightmare for me. And so AOL's always worked. I haven't had too many problems with them, other than the standard problems you would have with the dial-up, because for years I had dial-up. And so these, just attacks, folks, are never going to go away. They're just going to get worse. They're going to step up. They're going to increase. As we get towards the end of the days and closer to a lot of these beings' arrival and coming to Earth, they're going to shut up the big mouths. You know, they're going to be, unless the Lord Himself protects these people, they're going to shut them up. And so we're going to be seeing a lot of destruction and imprisonments and things coming and happening. And, you know, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's nothing to be fearful of. I mean, they want to say that we're spreading fear. You know, what are they going to do? Send us to heaven? Send us home? I'm not spreading fear. I'm spreading preparedness. This is what's coming. This is what's happening. And when it does, then you'll have about 42 months, and then we're all out of here. You know, I don't think there's any fear in it. I mean, yeah, there are things you need to be that anybody would be afraid of. Seeing a 9-foot alien standing in front of you would be pretty fearful. But the Lord's a lot bigger than a 9-foot alien, you know. If you've suffered through demonic attacks most of your life, which most people have, then seeing these aliens aren't going to be much different. They're just as ugly. They're just taller. And we still have the same power through the Lord on these aliens and on Satan as we've always had over the demonic realm. We don't lose any power. We have power over all the enemy, folks. If you are the Lord's, you have power over all the enemy. And so there's no fear in that, Lord. People, there's great peace in that. And so there's people that want to say it's fear. It's because they're fearful. They think we're spreading fear. I don't see it that way. I just don't see it that way. I don't read anything of mine and get fearful about it. I think one of the classic things I wrote was to serve man. The aliens are coming and they're cannibals. I think that article is a classic. That kind of wakes people up. Not meant to scare people as much as wake them up, make them realize that when you see UFOs, folks, don't run out to them. Don't be a part of their game. Don't play into their hands. Don't be involved with this whole coming UFO charade. Don't run out to see them, because when you come out to see them, they've got you tagged from the UFOs, so now you're interested in them, and whenever you give them a little bit of leeway, they're going to take a mile. And I've heard of people having dreams of going out to see a UFO and then running in their house and then having these aliens knocking on their doors. Sounds like they saw the movie Signs and then had a nightmare. But that's what happens when you show an interest into this realm, and if you're in it without the Lord's protection, then they take it as an interest in them, and they will take your little bit of interest and run with it for a mile. So what you don't want to do is run out to see these UFOs. You see a UFO, ignore it, and go home. Go in your house. Rebuke them in the name of Jesus. Rebuke them in the name of Yahushua. Don't show interest in them. What they're coming to do, and what people like Raymond Watkins are doing, is trying to herd groups of people into one place, like the Negev Desert, where they can then be raptured up. What they're going to call a rapture. But basically what's going to happen is these UFOs are going to have mass pickups where they're going to be picking up all these people and taking them off to kill them. No rapture here, folks. It's all deception. It's all games that are coming. It's all deceptions that are coming. The aliens have one thing on their mind right now, that's filling the UFOs with food. And their food is humans. And they want to do that before all these destructions come, so that they have plenty of food stored up. And I know you think that's pretty crazy, and it is, but that's the way it is. Nothing I can do about it. All I can do is warn you about it. This is stuff the Lord's been showing me for years. That just now other people are coming out. They aren't even Christians. They don't profess to be Christians. But they're seeing the same things in different ways. And so everything's confirming everything else. And so these things are coming. Will he pull down a UFO in Vegas? I guess we'll find out. No big deal. Don't go to Vegas. Don't plan to go to Vegas. Don't get tagged by these aliens and UFOs are showing interest in them. Rebuke them. Rebuke people like this Ramon Watkins. He really believes he is what he says he is because he's chip implanted and he's controlled. That's why he really believes it. Because he's chip implanted and he's controlled. But you can use your discernment and know that he's teaching falsehoods. Anyway, that's the show for this week, folks. I'll be on next week, 8 to 10. We'll see you then. Meanwhile, you can check out my blogger during the week, SherryShriner.blogspot.com, for any updates, information, comments. And I'll see you next Monday night, folks. God bless everybody.